We've all met someone who talks endlessly about the future they plan to build. They have blueprints for financial independence and a complete personal transformation perfectly mapped out in their heads. Yet, year after year, their actual life stays exactly the same. The common reaction is to label this behavior as laziness, assuming the person simply lacks the discipline to follow through on their own ideas. Psychology, however, suggests a different possibility. There may be specific internal functions at work that make staying still feel safer than moving forward. Living in this state means inhabiting two worlds at once, a stagnant daily reality and a high-achieving imaginary one. The gap between these two versions of yourself creates a profound sense of isolation. Even when the path forward is clear, a dreamer can find themselves held in place by a psychological friction that is difficult to see or define. To understand why high ambition often leads to zero physical results, we need to examine the specific biological and emotional traps that make a fantasy more appealing than actual progress. The first trap is biological. Your brain has difficulty distinguishing between planning for success and the act of achieving it. When you vividly imagine a significant milestone, the brain prematurely triggers a release of dopamine, providing an unearned sense of accomplishment. This chemical rush pacifies the urge to exert effort. The brain has received its reward. The drive decreases immediately. Daydreaming becomes so neurologically satisfying that the brain begins to treat the fantasy as a valid substitute for the challenges of reality. The second trap involves a deep-seated fear of failure. A dreamer often avoids action not because they lack goals, but because the risk of trying and falling short is too high. There is a protective logic at play here. As long as a plan stays entirely inside your head, it remains perfect. By never taking the first step, the dreamer ensures their vision is never tarnished by real-world limitations. This leads to the habit of waiting for a perfect moment, or for a feeling of complete readiness that never actually arrives. Psychological evidence shows that confidence is a byproduct of action. It is something developed while doing the work, rather than a state of mind required to start the work. Using readiness as a benchmark is often just a subconscious way to ensure a dream is never actually put to the test. Beyond fear, there is the mental exhaustion caused by overanalysis. Many dreamers spend their energy reserves entirely on the logistics of the future. They get caught simulating every variable, mapping out every possible hurdle, and trying to solve problems that haven't even happened yet. This level of mental simulation drains the same cognitive fuel required for physical tasks. By the time it is time to act, the day's energy budget has already been spent fighting hypothetical battles inside their own head. Even with perfect energy management, there is the hurdle of identity. There is often a direct conflict between a high-level goal and how a person secretly sees themselves. If you try to maintain a disciplined routine while holding a core belief that you are someone who never finishes things, your brain will trigger intense psychological friction to stop you. Personal ambition cannot easily override a deeply rooted self-image. The brain naturally moves towards actions that confirm what we already believe about ourselves. To reach a significant goal, you have to accept an identity shift. You have to move past the habits and traits of the person who stayed still to make room for the person who moves. This pattern often reveals a specific psychological dependency, the addiction to potential. Talking about a bright future provides social validation and a sense of possibility. However, the labor required to reach that future is repetitive, quiet, and often lonely. Real progress involves doing the unglamorous work that offers no immediate rewards or dopamine spikes. Clinging to an idealized version of who you could be can serve as a shield, preventing you from having to face the reality of your current skills and limitations. Imagining a better life is a biological defect in direct defiance of your own brain's preference for comfort.